Here we are. Hey, folks, it's Kary Oberbrunner, and I have with me a really fun but super intelligent also. You can be fun and intelligent.
Yeah,
Um,
I think you have to be intelligent
yes,
to
you
be fun,
do. Yes, you do.
right?
Um, Dr. Jill Ombrello, how are you doing today, my friend?
I am fantastic. I am thriving. I am excited. I am nervous. I am all of the things
Oh,
this morning.
yeah,
It's like Christmas morning this morning. I'm all the
it
things.
is. It is. Well, listen, the book is amazing. You
Thank
and I
you.
sat down together about a year ago, and you said, "Listen, I got this passion. Moms are the ones who advocate for their children's health, and we need to talk about this. And why don't you kind of share with us about the book?"
Yeah, absolutely. The book, I think, really has three parts. One, it explains a little bit about me and why I have a passion to not only educate, but empower people to be their own advocate. So I talk, Kary, I got to tell you, I get pretty personal. I tell some stories,
Yeah, you do.
reveal some things about myself that only my most inner circle knows about. So maybe that's the nerves, that maybe that's the excitement. I'm not sure. The transparency that I had in sharing some of these stories, I'm really proud of, and um, we'll see how that lands. But so that's a really important piece to understand where I'm coming from, and then I think the rest of the book really talks about ways to empower moms or parents or either even other dentists who want to have this conversation but maybe
Yes.
can't articulate it or aren't coming from a similar position that I have, and maybe hopefully don't have the same medical history that I have. And so this would help at least start a conversation that in these crazy times with so many options and so much information, there is the responsibility to be your own advocate and also the possibility of looking for root causes and alternative solutions to healthcare issues that, quite honestly, we've been chasing symptoms for and not had much success.
Totally. So you blew my mind when you shared your backstory about this. And I like the fact that you are being even super transparent right now, which is that you did have a doctor, not that we're going to give away the whole book, but you had somebody early on in your life when you did struggle with health, and they did not hear you. They were not an advocate in the beginning.
And
Right?
Absolutely. And looking back, it was almost like the time that I was my weakest, right? Because I had some symptoms that I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I was looking for help and looking for answers. And when I met this doctor, he had the answer. It was,
Mm.
his way or no way.
Yeah.
So I trusted and I followed the path, and that while I was really angry and upset for a very long time at this doctor for just telling me what to do and then not having a great result, quite honestly,
Yeah.
I have to thank him now. I have to thank him
Mhm.
as much as I blame him. I have to thank him because he has completely shaped the way I am as a mom, as
Wow.
a doctor, and as a person. And so it was a difficult journey, but I couldn't be more grateful for that experience. And I used to look at, I had an open heart surgery. I used to look at that scar as a weakness or something sad or something terrible that happened to me.
Mm.
And now I look at it as a battle wound. Look what I made it through, and look what I'm going to use this for, so this doesn't happen to somebody else.
I love it. When we sat down together and you started sharing all these things about the book, I was blown away because you talked about, first of all, let's tell people what you focus on. It's a certain type of dentistry.
Right. It's really taking a look at how the body's supposed to function properly. And so, as that relates to dentistry, obviously we want proper diet and proper water, but really it talks and focuses on the way that we breathe. And the
Mm.
way that we breathe can be, and how our airway develops, can be really affected by how our jaws fit together, how our upper and lower teeth fit together, how that tongue fits in your mouth. All of that can be related and impactful to how we sleep. I have found, oh, what a great picture. That's
Isn't that
Ecuador.
great? Yeah,
I
yeah.
went down to Ecuador and taught doctors there, and had just a beautiful time. Ecuador is amazing.
Wow.
Um, so in evaluating how patients' jaws, upper and lower jaws, fit together, we can see why they may have issues with their tongue falling into their airway. We may now have a better understanding as to why they mouth breathe, why they have acidic saliva, spit in their mouth, so that they have cavities every time they come to the dentist. We may understand why they have thyroid issues and cortisol issues. All of these issues that patients are really focusing on and trying to resolve, when really the root cause of it comes down to the way that they breathe. And the way that they breathe and the way that they compensate has to do with the fact that their tongue doesn't fit in their mouth because they're the way their jaws fit together. So patients love hearing that the solution isn't necessarily a pharmaceutical intervention, but it's just getting them back to the basics and having their body function the way it's supposed to.
I love it. You even talked, didn't you share with me something about even how grinding that's a
Yeah.
common thing? And like, you just have all these little amazing things that I've never heard about before. And I think it shows, number one, I was impressed with your expertise, but then you have this, I'll just be real, like, you have this very personal uh, aura about you. Like, you might think a very expert dentist is kind of like bad at bedside manners or really doesn't, you know, not good with interpersonal skills. You nailed it. I mean, you're good at both, but talk to us about that whole grinding thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you. I do have to take ownership that dentists are weird. The fact that we
Yeah,
commit our whole life to spit and teeth and all of
right.
that, it is a bit weird. But if you can't have fun with it along the way, what are we even doing? But yes, I kept finding I've been doing this honestly, Kary, for close to 20 years, which just blows me away with this youthful appearance that I have. How could I have been doing
Yes.
it for 20 years? No, I'm
Oh,
teasing.
yeah.
But
No,
um,
no. Yeah.
I would be so confused and baffled as we help these patients with their dental work, and we did these beautiful fillings or crowns or whatever the case may be, and they just grind them like crazy. And so really it forced me as a dentist to look at why are they grinding their teeth, and rather than make them an appliance that treats their grinding, we're treating the root cause of that grinding, which is their lower jaw falling back into the airway and the tongue blocking it.
Wow.
What amazes me consistently day in and day out, and what I cannot believe, is how magical the body is just
Mm.
naturally if we get out of its way. People's ability to compensate is unbelievable, how they
Yeah.
can compensate. So the fact that the tongue can fall in the airway and the brain just knows, because our survival instinct to breathe is stronger than anything else. The brain just knows, bring that lower jaw forward, get your tongue out of the way so that you can breathe effectively. It's
Wow.
magical. So we want to use that overall health and fantastic instincts and ability to compensate. We want to use that for good, not in a way that is avoiding what's really going on.
Yeah. Well, I love these benefits here. Moms in the Trenches, first of all, such a good name. I know we talked quite a bit about the cover, but the cover makes so much sense. It's almost, what does the cover mean to you? Because it means something to me, but what does it mean to you?
Yeah, well, I gotta say, it is August in Texas. It is 110 degrees outside. It is back to school time. And there's no better way to say we are just in the trenches. We want to do the absolute best for our children. We want to do the best for ourselves. We're trying to get signed up for activities and appointments and all kinds of things. And so this cover is really meaningful to me because it's all kinds of moms. This affects everybody. It doesn't
Yeah.
affect upper class, lower class, middle class. We all have to breathe. And so if we can really get in this together, if we can really wrap our arms around each other and support each other through this, inevitably, not only do we benefit from that, from the community and from the understanding, but ultimately our children benefit from that. And if we can improve the lives of our kids, I mean, Kary, I'm just going to say it: if the kids can improve, maybe that's what saves the world, right? Maybe
Yeah.
that's what, if we have the healthiest version of these children, maybe that's what makes the world a better place in
I
the long
I
run.
love it. It's your version of igniting souls, meaning like, hey, I ignite souls through authors and
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. You're igniting souls through advocating for children's health. And there's so many things I like about this book. First of all, the subtitle, The Root Cause. We sat down the very first time and you started to say the root cause. And I'm like, okay, is this a double play like the tooth root? But you really said it's behind the presenting problem. Is
Yeah.
this true?
It's digging a little bit deeper. So it's not saying that you're a teeth grinder. Here's an appliance for to protect your teeth. It's not saying you have low thyroid hormones. You have Hashimoto's. Here's a drug for that. It's not saying you have attention deficit disorder. Here is medication for that. All of those things exist, yes, but typically there's an underlying contributory factor to that, and that has to do with how people are sleeping, and their sleep is affected most by how they're breathing. So it is so exciting day in and day out. I could tell story after story. I do tell some pretty amazing stories in this book about patients who have been you know, just chasing answers, chasing their tails. And then all of a sudden, when we've identified the root cause and they become the best version of themselves, I'll tell you what, it is a fun day at work. I have to thank those patients for being so brave and honest and letting me include their stories in the book, because I think they're going to do just so much good for so many people, because that exists in a lot of other kids. So I'm hoping moms can read this, other dentists can read it, everybody can read it, and maybe recognize some of these symptoms in someone that they know, because everybody knows a kid, Kary. This book is for everybody. Everybody knows a kid. And so there's a kid that you care about. And so reading this book and identifying some of these symptoms might help the kid that's important to you in your life.
Listen, you got a bunch of people watching. This thing's going to be shared all over the place. Dana is pretty much tagging all of her friends here, saying, you need to watch, you need to watch.
Dana is incredible. I am so appreciative of Dana. She's
my gosh.
fantastic.
She is. Our whole team loves this book. In fact, I don't know if you saw this, but big announcement here. You just got a #1 new release in dental pediatrics. So
woo, that's exciting.
Yeah. So you got to screenshot that baby.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to screenshot it right now here. Hold on. But let's go to the look inside, because I love look inside here. And it really gives us, I tell people that the look inside table of contents are like road signs about where Jill is going to take us on the journey. So let's go inside there and kind of look at the table of contents here. Where do you take people? You say, I should be happy. Very interesting. You start with your journey right there.
Yeah, you know, that word "should" is my least favorite word in the whole English dictionary.
Right.
How we should ourselves is horrible. I should be happy. I should be more productive. I should be healthier.
Yeah.
The amount of guilt and shame that is associated with that word is overwhelming. So I felt, and this is where I start in my early 20s, when this really kind of came to a head. I should be happy. I have everything going for me. Life is fantastic. Why am I so miserable? And I think that so many women and mom friends and employees and you know, strangers that I meet at the grocery store, everybody shoulds themselves. I should be this or that. And it just doesn't have to be that way. So this is really talking about, we're understanding the basics. We're starting at the ground floor. You don't need to be a dentist. You don't need to have advanced training to understand this book. So some of it, for those that do have advanced training, it may be a reminder. Perhaps I say things in a different way that something clicks, which is always really exciting to me. But you really want to understand what the basics are, how things are supposed to work, and then really coming up with a plan. I love reading books. I read 4 or 5 books a week, quite honestly, in all different forms, audibles, all of different things. My biggest complaint sometimes about authors writing books is they tell you all these problems, and I finish the book and I'm like, now what? Okay, you told me I have this problem. What do I do? So it was so important to me to give action items and say, this is why this is so important. Here's the plan. And then here's what you go do about it. Everything from the easiest kind of daily improvements that you can do that ultimately exponentially cause exponential improvement. If you do one little thing better every day, a year from now, you've done 365 things better. That's a lot of things that you've done better. So that we can break it up and just do a little bit at a time, so that we don't get overwhelmed and we don't should ourselves to death.
Yep. I love this, that first of all, problem, plan, pledge. I can see where you're taking me, the reader. All of these are verbs. I love that. Reject, rewire, rewrite, rekindle, research, renew, reimagine. It's so practical. I love the fact that this isn't a 400-page book, because I think if it was, nobody would read it. Like, moms are busy.
We're busy.
And you basically take them at the back of the book and you say, hey, we're even going to take a pledge. What do you hope? I mean, what do you hope happens with this book?
I really hope that those that read it feel empowered to make a change, whatever that means. If that means the change is giving the book to someone else who would benefit from reading it, if that means starting a conversation with the moms in carpool, if that means
Yeah.
a dentist saying, you know what, this is happening in my practice too. I'm not able to articulate this, but I'm going to start handing this book out to my patients so they can read about it.
Oh,
Um,
that's so
I,
good.
I hope that it has a snowball effect and picks up momentum so that it can be passed around. I know there's important books that my friends and we pass around for those who need it at certain times. I hope this becomes one of those books that doesn't shame mothers or the reader, doesn't make them feel guilty, makes them feel like, I got this. I never thought of this before, but now that I know, I can't unknow it. And this is what I
Yes.
can do to make it better.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jill, I just got inspired. I just ordered a copy for my dentist, Dr. Heidi Stauffer
Fantastic.
in Columbus, Westerville. The reason why I did, though, is because if you ask my wife, hey, who's one of your favorite people on the planet? She will say the dentist, because
Oh, well, that is not always the most common answer, Kary.
no, I know, but I'll tell you the quick story. And by the way, just so I'm fully transparent here, folks. I'm telling you, okay. So I'm the publisher, and I just ordered this thing like a second ago. Why? Because our dentist saved our daughter's tooth. She knocked it out in a basketball game on a Saturday,
Oh,
and I quickly called the emergency line. She came in on a Saturday and
awesome.
held that thing for an hour, hoping that, and I don't know what else she did. She did something you dentists probably know, but she basically saved the tooth, and now my daughter's tooth is okay.
Oh, it's
So
fantastic.
yeah, and so I just think that you're right. A lot of times dentists aren't, kids' favorite people, but my daughter pretty much, my wife every day pretty much thanks our dentist. So you are people's favorite. In fact, I just went on Google and I saw 77 Google reviews, and they're climbing fast. Why do you think people are so excited about Central Dentist?
Well, first of all, that's a great story about your daughter's dentist. I love stories of dentists who just, should I say go above and beyond? That is
Yeah.
definitely above and beyond, but also she probably didn't see it that way. She probably just saw it, hey, this child needs something and I will be there for him. And that's really
Yes.
what it's all about. So that's such an exciting story. I think people are excited about Central Dentist because gone are the days where the doctor tells you this is what you need and
Mm,
do it or kind of get out. I think one thing I really pride myself on is we have a conversation, and so we call that
yeah.
first appointment a consultation, and we get a bunch of information, and then we lay out a plan from the highest priority to the lowest priority, and even optional things to align with what their overall health goals are. And I think
So
patients
good.
are very appreciative that they're part of that conversation, and ultimately they decide. Because while I obviously care about my patients and I want them to be healthy, it's ultimately their body, and they have to decide when or if they want to move forward with the suggestions that I make. And so I think patients feel appreciative of a low pressure, empowering environment that isn't always present at doctor's appointments.
I love it. Talk to us about this special picture.
Oh yeah, that's my dad who recently retired. I'm a fourth generation dentist. My sister is also a dentist, so he's actually down in Puerto Rico with Dr. Beth Rossellini, who also has a holistic practice, and she's a pregnant mom in the trenches right now. So
Wow.
he's down there working with her office. So when I say that he's retired, I'm not sure. I think he's working harder than ever. But it's
Yeah.
such a special relationship. I grew up seeing how my father treated his patients, and he, was respectful and kind and helpful. And these were the same people that came to our Christmas parties that we saw at the grocery store, and they gave him a hug and were happy. I can remember more than a few Christmas Eve masses where my dad would go do an emergency dental appointment and miss church. So with the family. So he's just been a fantastic example of who
Wow.
I'd like to be and how I want to treat people.
Well, and I love the fact that, maybe years ago people thought holistic and they're like, woo woo, that's kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
I feel like if you're not being holistic, you're being incredibly narrow and you're going to miss things. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and I was kind of alone in this space. Not alone, but there weren't quite as many people in this space a long time ago. But I think what people are finding is having proper nutrition, having proper water, having proper sleep. All of these basics are so important to improve your immunity, so that if you do get sick or if you are exposed to a virus or whatever the case may be, your body is prepared and ready to fight it. That being said, as much as I choose a very holistic biological approach, non-pharmaceutical approach to things, I will say Western medicine is fantastic, and so there's a
Mm,
place for both of those. And I think the marriage of the two of those is how we become ultimately the healthiest. But I think one thing that's really missing in our healthcare system, one thing that I really missed out on. And ultimately had an open heart surgery, was the marriage of the two, the holistic approach to things as well as a Western solution. And so I feel, again, just so passionate that people get that. But the holistic space, it makes sense. It's logical. We're not reinventing the wheel. We are simply supporting our magical, strong bodies that are just wanting to be the best versions of themselves.
that's so good. Yeah, my past role was a person of faith, professionally, and one of my favorite verses is how our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you're nailing it. Like the
Yeah.
body is amazing. It's been designed that way, but we have to be open to the right practice. Like it's not just going to happen naturally. Like you're saying, you have to reset some things at times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that reset is just back to, honestly, factory settings. We don't need to reinvent
Ah,
what we've been given.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So, what is the pledge? At the end of the book, you kind of say, look, we're going to take a pledge, those who are serious about this. I think it's great because I think you're almost calling women to a movement. What is that movement really about?
The movement is to start the conversation that we pledge to take action, whether it is every single thing I suggest in the book or just one small thing a day, knowing that
Mm,
you're going to do better today and you'll do better tomorrow. And eventually that has, like I said, a cumulative exponential effect. So I hope when whoever the reader is finishes the book, that they do take that pledge that I am going to make a difference, whether it's in their own life, their children's lives, hopefully both, or in anyone's life who this would find this information important. So I really
yeah.
want to call to action. Let's not just talk about it anymore. Let's move forward. One of my favorite sayings is it day one or one day? And so
Mm,
let's have this be day one. Read the book. It's day one on your journey to become the absolute best version of yourself and live a beautiful, thriving life, because life is too short not to.
I've heard people literally say that as a teenager, they were so embarrassed of their teeth
Yeah.
that they didn't smile. And if you go through life not smiling and shame based,
Yeah.
that will really create some massive damage. But the flip side is, I've seen the same stories of those people saying, but when I did get my teeth right and did start smiling,
Yeah.
it brought so much self-esteem. It changed my life. Like it's no overstatement to say that you're doing life-changing work. Do you see this like on a daily basis?
You know what? I do. And I have to say it's not me that's doing it. I think I'm really just providing the opportunity for moms or patients to take the information I'm providing and they're changing their own lives. They're taking advantage of their natural growth and development to follow the protocol, which is, ranges from appliances to all sorts of non-invasive early interventions, and they're doing it. And so they're doing the work. But I got to tell you, when I come to work and I hear stories about a child who was out in the hallway for misbehavior, and really we know they're exhausted and they're doing the best they can, and now not only are they back into the classroom, but they're in the gifted and talented. My gosh, that's a fun day. When I have parents who are really struggling over how to manage their child, and we have divorce on the table, and it's just the dynamics of the family aren't working, to find that we can help this child get a better night's sleep and be the best version of himself. This happened last week. The couple came in to tell me that they were pregnant. They're getting, not only are they, happy in their marriage, but they're welcoming another child, which, by the way, they should name Jill, don't you think?
That's right.
So these types of stories make it just a fabulous day to come to work. I do it for free because I love hearing these stories and seeing the improvements. But really, I have to give all the credit to the parents and the patients who are willing to be transparent, who are willing to jump in and really make a difference in their own lives.
Listen, we're going to share in your socials. You got facebook.com/Jill Ombrello. You're at Jill Ombrello, at Central Dentist. I've been on your social media. I've seen some very cool things. You're basically promoting your staff. I mean, how cool is that? Lots of times it's the staff and the people, that don't get a lot of credit, but you are highlighting these people as key individuals.
Oh yeah, I have just the smartest team you could ever want. We were actually in a 9-hour meeting yesterday, talking about how we can continue to grow our team, grow our expertise, have a more exceptional experience for our patients in office. And it was funny, Kary, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. That's a long day. It's a lot of talking and a lot of ideas. And the feedback was they wanted 2 more days of meetings.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're not doing it, but I have the just absolute best team who's eager to learn, who's also walking in this journey with the parents. So their kids are doing this. They are making these decisions. They've all taken the pledge. And so they understand how exciting it is, but hey, also how it can be a little challenging. Changing behaviors and changing habits can be challenging. So they are great advocates for our patients as they tell what's really going on and what it's really like.
Folks, Moms in the Trenches, #1 new release. I got my copy. I'm handing it to my dentist after I read it. But I am so excited that, listen, everybody who's watching this, who will watch it, you know a kid, you have a kid, you know a dentist, you have a dentist. This is a book that literally can change the world. I got to ask you a question, though. What in the world does this say, Dr. Jill Ombrello, mom? And you even have your author page. What is that about?
You know what? There are a lot of letters I could put after that. I'm certified in the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. I have a fellowship in the Institute of Functional Medicine. I'll tell you what, I am certified and fellowed in more letters after my name that are in my name. But the most important qualification, the thing that I'm most proud of, is I'm a mom too. So I'm right there in the trenches with my patients.
I love it.
My 4 kids are the most important thing to me. And so I just want them to be the absolute best versions of themselves. So, hey, not only am I a doctor and I've got some, extra education, I've jumped in there and really figured out some things, but equally important, I'm a mom, so I get it. So we're not going to shoot ourselves. We're going to get all the information, and then we're going to implement it the best we can day by day.
Folks, Dr. Jill Ombrello, first book. What an honor and joy to celebrate with you, and get a copy, get multiple copies, share them with your friends, your dentists, and let's help kids all around the world. Jill, thanks for being here today.
Kary, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to Igniting Souls. You guys are a fantastic team and just held my hand through a very difficult journey. So I can't thank you enough.
Glad to have you with us. Take care, everybody. Share this. And even the last person to comment, I just ordered a copy. It will be here on Thursday. So, Matisse.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Good job. Well, take care, everybody. We'll see you.
Thank you.